I'm doing something today that I've never done on a video before. And to do that, I'm going to use this, the Prism Oracle. We're going to have a conversation style reading, and we're going to interpret them as they come out, allowing the message to kind of build on each card to give us a full picture of what's going on. So if that sounds interesting, stick around. Not all of this is going to resonate, but if there is a chance, I could be reading for you. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Well, it looks like we're starting. Fear. Now, why is fear the first one out? You might be surrounded by a lot of fear at the moment. You might be ruled by fear. There might be something that you have to do, but maybe fear is just stopping us. What is it that we need to know about this fear, please? Ghost. Okay. Why ghost? Faith in reverse. I see what's going on. There's a spirit around you at the moment that is trying to help with this fear. But we're not relying on that spirit. We're not trusting the energy that's coming through. We're not having faith. Faith in our own capabilities. Faith that the universe has got our back. We're allowing this fear to rule us, not trusting that our team around us have our best interests at heart, that they're moving us in the way that we need to go. That faith in reverse says it all. Why do you not trust that? Why do they not trust that? Illumination in reverse. You're not trusting it because you haven't seen it. It hasn't been illuminated for you. But not everything can be. Not everything can go the way that we expect. And I feel like this is one of those situations where we want to take a step, but the step isn't there. We don't have faith. It's not being shown to us. Therefore, we're going to stay where we are. But it's almost like your team are saying, the next step is there. We just have to take it. Okay, what else do we need to know? There's anger there. There's a lot of anger there. I feel that. I feel that. We want to move. We want to move. But that fear, we don't trust. We don't have faith. I love their sense of humor. Intuition and protection. You're not trusting yourself. Apparently, they've been giving you messages about this. They've been sending you signs and synchronicities, angel numbers and songs and birds and some really weird stuff, which you all know what I'm talking about. That is a sign that you've got to listen to this intuition. That is a sign that you are protected. Trust that protection. Have a little bit of faith in that. What else do we need to know, please? What else? What else? Strength. That's what they're trying to send you, but that's not it. What else are you sending them, please? Ideation and cleanse. You are moving out of a chapter. They're trying to help you with that, with the cleanse card. Not only are they sending you strength, but they're also sending you ideas. We talked about those things being put in by spirit. It could be an idea for you to follow. And I feel like you've had that idea for some time. They have been sending that for some time. But we're not trusting. We're not relying on that faith. Anything else, please? Anything else? Space. I just clocked what's at the bottom of this as well. Maybe you need a little bit of space to figure out how it is that you want to move forward, to trust these things that are coming through, but that's not it. Right on the back, staring me in the face, we got the trust card. Space and trust. We might need some time to trust in that fully. We might need some time to just come back to center, to believe that they do have our best interests at heart, that they are trying to move us in the right direction. Okay, want me to do a shuffle? What else do we need to know, please? Creativity. Okay. I feel like they want you to use that creativity. Either that or you're not making the best use of it. I feel like it's that one. There's more we can do. There's more creativity that we can push in. But we're getting anxiety about it. Anxiety about being creative, or anxiety about the process. No matter what, that anxiety is there, which might in turn be stopping our creativity. How do we move through this, please? How do we move through that anxiety? Just had the trust card pop back in. You've got to trust. Just take a step. It's there. It's waiting for you. Isolation in reverse. So a bit like the space card, we need time to figure this out. We need time to build that energy. And just as I say that, the wind picks up. With the death card, we're fearful of this ending. We're worried that our efforts aren't going to be passed along, that this is going to amount to nothing. But there's so much love here. I'm jumping back to that ghost card, the spirit team that you have around you. All they want to come through with is love. Now, when faced with the choice, nothing ever just ends up being nothing. Something always comes from something. And I think they just want to remind you that it is worth pushing forward with this. That there is a lot of love there, but also this love for you. I feel like we've really lost our spark. And I feel like that comes right back to this card, the fear card. I feel like we've lost that sense of energy, that sense of trust, that sense of faith. They're trying to get some more things towards you. They're trying to show you what is around. But it's almost like we got our head in the sand. And sweetness coming out. Love and sweetness. They want to open your eyes back up to this. I feel like part of this is tied to the loss and the grief of that loved one. And they want to remind you that this love and sweetness is still present. It's still there. And I understand why we're not leaning into that. Because we need to feel what we gotta feel. But it's still there. They're trying to show you. And peace. Okay. I'm just gonna let him talk. Okay, two separate messages coming through here. The first one is rest. You have to get a little bit of rest. You're trying to do a little bit too much at the moment and your energy needs to be put into something else. Maybe that is a little bit of rest, giving us that space, that isolation, just to bring ourselves back to center, to realize what it is that we want. But then we also had rejection in reverse. Do not reject this opportunity for rest. Don't reject this opportunity as a whole. It's come up for a very specific reason. And that is these two cards. The pain that we're feeling at the moment. They want to let you know that that is energy. That pain, that hurt, the emotions, it's energy in motion. They're trying to get you moving. But appreciate that you've got to feel what you've got to feel. This energy is here to be used. It's here to be cultivated. Take that energy, put it into that creativity. Don't put it into that fear. Okay, what else do we need? I'm loving this. Abundance. That energy is needed for your abundance. And it's a funny one, isn't it? Because normally we don't feel like we're that abundant. But we actually might be abundant in something that we don't want at the moment. Maybe we're abundant in fear. We need to be abundant in something else. Abundant in trust, in love, in sweetness, in creativity. We gotta do something with this energy. We can't just leave it to fade away. Hunger, balance, and reflection in reverse. We need to have a hunger for balance. I know you probably already feel that. I feel like something's tickling me on my neck. That hunger for balance is so needed. Things can move forwards and come back into harmony, but not without this reflection. They want you to sit a little bit of space, a little bit of isolation to reflect. I feel that need for the balance, but there's only one way to get that. We have to make changes. We have to move. Trust that things will come back into harmony. I know there's sadness there. That we've got to surrender to. Now we're talking about emotions. That sadness cannot go unnoticed. That sadness cannot go unfelt. Sorry, I got a little bit passionate there. We have to surrender to that, to allow these emotions to take their natural course, to do what they need to do. We've got to feel this. We've got to surrender to it. I know it feels like when you crack that lid, everything's going to come out. And parts of it will. But every time we do that, every time we burp that jar, it gets a little bit easier. It gets easier to manage. And I know that sadness is strong. Definitely confirming what this energy is tied to. That grief or that loss. But there's only one way through. We have to surrender. Stop in reverse. Stop fighting those feelings. We have to just let them come. Surrender to it. On the final few cards now. Flow. Okay, what else for me, please? There's more to this one. Excuse me, little spider. You go down there. So flow. Not only that, we've got mystery, we've got consciousness, and happiness. If we want to find our flow, if we want to find that happiness, we have to surrender to the mystery. I know this loss, this event, this circumstance, I know it caught us off guard, and I know it's knocked our trust a little bit, but surrendering to that mystery is absolutely key. It's key for getting in the flow. It is key for our consciousness. And I feel like this card kind of wants to stick around. You're getting a level up. You're seeing a different side to energy, to the world, to situations. And that energy is very important to listen to. Your consciousness is rising. It is going to help with the flow, the happiness, but only if we surrender to this mystery. You've known this for a little while. I feel like we might have had these thoughts before. We might have just not embraced them. Growth. And I feel like this mystery that's around you, the mystery of how things are moving forward, the trust that's needed with that, is for our growth. The fact that we also pulled consciousness, double confirmation that we're having a bit of a level up. And passion. Yeah, we've lost that spark. Where has that passion gone? We need to find it again. Doing something you love. But caution. if we don't reconnect with that passion, reconnect with that love, that sweetness, the happiness, there is a need for caution. There is a need for a little bit of space and isolation. Because without this, how can they get all of that good to you? Okay, let's go through these last cards. We've got success. That is the key to our success. Maybe it's telling us that if we don't reconnect with that passion, that success is going to be in limbo. And confidence. Oh, I love these. Confidence, determination. These are all the aspects that you're reconnecting with, that you're moving forward with. And if you don't feel any of these right now, don't worry about it. We're building that energy. And I get that there's frustration here. At the moment, it might feel like you're trying to put a square peg into a round hole. Tell you what, don't worry about the peg. Walk away from the hole. Don't get obsessed with trying to force it in there. Find yourself a little bit of space and a little bit of isolation. And a little bit of comfort. I love how they're coming out with these. Because there's so much magic around you at the moment that we're just not seeing. And that magic is energy. That magic encourages movement. But we're not moving, are we? And I understand why with the cards that we pulled today. But this movement, that is what gets you to that success. That is what gets you reconnected with your passion. And our last card, disruption. They're trying to throw a spanner in the works here. They are causing a deliberate disruption because they don't like the way that you're moving. The way that you're sitting in that energy, you're not helping yourself, you're not encouraging yourself. That is why we've done this today, to get you thinking in a different way, to get you moving in a different way. We have pulled every single card from this deck, and it all started with this, that fear. They don't want you to hold on to this. You're not deserving of it. You might feel like it at the moment, but there is a need to believe in something better, to believe that something better is coming your way. Don't let this fear rule you. I really, really enjoyed doing that reading. Thank you for sending through those messages. Thank you for working with me and putting forward what needed to be said. I really hope you enjoyed it too. I would love to know what you thought down in the comments. Did all of that resonate? Was there something in there that you needed to hear? But on a more gentle note, they really do just want to get everything to you. They want you to reconnect with those parts that you might have lost, that you might feel disconnected from. That love, the happiness, the joy, the sweetness, the good energy that's around us. We can reconnect with that, but we've got to trust. We've got to feel the things that we need to feel. Don't shove anything down. Let it come up. Feel it. Have a good cry. Have a good scream. Go to a rage room. Whatever you feel like you need to do to get that emotion out. So don't fight it. Let it go. And I feel like after that, you're going to see a massive change in things. A massive change in your abundance, in your energy. They're trying to move a lot for you here, and we got to move with them. Can you trust me on that?